You're listening to episode 581 of the Father Bills Podcast. Welcome back. This week's episode is entitled The Power of a Child, given on the Solemnity of the Nativity of the Lord, 2016. At the birth of a child, a miracle is made present in a most powerful way. While the mother of a child most often has a great connection with this great miracle for obvious reasons, the father, not as much until the actual birth. How many of us have seen a complete transformation of the dad after the birth? I know I have. It's a miracle that comes from the very act of the birth, of a new child being brought into the world. The miracle is so amazing that it shakes even the coldest of cold hearts. There is something about the birth of a child that just transforms us. Maybe God knows what he's doing. Maybe God knew this from the beginning, and it's part of the plan. Now, at this time, the question often is asked, why did God have to become one of us? Why couldn't he have just made himself known by some kind of wonderful, powerful, unmistakable sign which nobody could refute or resist? Why a baby? Why not, in fact, a full-grown person, just boom, instantly could have done it, wielding power to force submission of any skeptics and especially atheists? There'd be no way of getting around it. Why not be present in such a way that, we could just ask and he'd do our bidding, kind of like a genie, rubbing your lamp and boom. Why not just come and fix all our problems and just, snap his fingers and boom, it's taken care of? Again, it begs the question, why a child? Why such an infant? Why such a vulnerable beginning? Maybe it was to fool the wise and overpower the strong. Maybe he chose to come in this way to demonstrate that power is found in humble submission to God. Maybe he wanted to let us know that he knows what we go through. Maybe he wanted us to be close to him by him becoming close to us. Maybe he wanted to model poverty and humility over extravagance and arrogance. Maybe he wanted us to know that his love for us and for each one of us is so powerful and so deep that he would do anything to reach us. Maybe he knew that by taking on our weakness, we could be made strong. Maybe he wanted to share with us that he has a heart for the poor by coming to us in poverty. Maybe peace and stillness are his preferences, rather than war and freneticism. Maybe by coming as a small child instead of a warrior, he could become more approachable. Maybe he wanted us to know that he knows what it is like to be abandoned, to be lost, abused, neglected, hated. Maybe he wanted us to know that he knows what suffering is as well. Maybe he wanted us to know that he knew what it is to be cold and shivering. Maybe he wanted us to know that he experienced the loss of a loved one and the pain of that memory in their absence. This is a Christmas time where we mark time. We think about the years past and how it used to be and it is not now. Maybe he knows that himself. Maybe by being wrapped in humanity in swaddling clothes as well, he could save humanity from destruction and wrap us in his divinity. Maybe by allowing humanity to pick up and comfort him with open hearts, would comfort us. Maybe he wanted to pass through suffering and death, only to rise again so that we could too. Maybe by being laid in a manger, a place for food, in a city, Bethlehem, which means house of bread, that he wanted to signal that he would become food for the journey for us. You know what the last rites are in the Catholic Church? It's Eucharist in the form of viaticum, which means food for the journey. Maybe he knew that a baby was a miraculous presence which could change the coldest of cold hearts. Maybe he wanted to show love from the creche to the cross. Maybe he had all this planned out from the beginning. Maybe he knew that only through a child could he do all these things and more. And here we are. We are celebrating this great mystery, recognizing that God can and is doing great things through small things. The power of a child. The awesomeness of an infant. So this Christmas, may we all spend time in gratitude with this knowledge, this awareness, for this miraculous gift that God has come in the flesh, in the form of an infant born of the Virgin Mary. Not in extravagance and wealth, but in obscurity. May his presence be reborn in our hearts, each one of us, so that we can be set free and transformed in a way that only a baby's presence can. May the birth of Jesus Christ, this celebration, and all of our Christmas celebrations change and transform each one of us.
Merry Christmas, and I wish the best for you and your family and friends in this upcoming new year of 2017. Now, part of what I do as a podcaster is I also listen to other people's podcasts and other people's homilies, and I hope that you do as well. One of those individuals is a good friend of mine, Father Gary Zer, who is in the Salem area at St. Edward's Parish. And he's been podcasting about the same time I have, or at least as long as I have. And he has moved his podcast over to a new website, and that is fathergary.com, FRGARY.com. And I must say, he's a very good preacher. It's very conversational in style, has great stories, good humor, and always a very good point in his homilies. And I'm very proud to be his friend. But I want to mention him because that would help maybe recapture some listeners for him. Since he's moved his podcast from one site to another, he's lost some of the followers. And that happens when you move from one server to another, or another website to another one. And you might check it out. So again, that's fathergary.com. And until next time, may God bless you, and I wish you again the best, and have a wonderful, blessed Christmas season and a happy new year.